Well, it doesn't matter if it was only 2.5 minutes late or 10 minutes late. It makes no difference. You're late. Yes, I understand that. But if you're truly interested in becoming an apprentice of the craft, it would be in your best interest to ensure that you arrive on time. Very well. Come in. Have a seat. We don't have time to waste. You already tried my patience. I'll need a cup of tea. Oh, I suppose you want one too, do you? Very well. Such a charming sound the glass makes. Now, we really don't have much time to start our first lesson. So, why don't we begin with a quick tour of the potions table, shall we? Now, potion making and the craft in general requires your utmost focus and dedication to be successful. Hours and hours every day you'll need to devote to the study of potion making, ingredients, containers and temperatures and environments and all of these different correspondences that work together to create a potion. Now, I like to color code my potion bottles so that only I know exactly what's inside. All of my combinations and my recipes are written in my grimoire. This one. You do not touch this book. 1,000 curses be on you if you do. Is that clear? Good. I knew you were smarter than you seem. Now, at some point, you will need to invest in a cauldron of your own, but you'll be able to use mine for the time being. It's bubbling over there at the moment. I'm experimenting with a new type of protection spell. There's been a recent infestation of orcs in the village down below, so I thought it would be wise to protect myself. Now this, the bottle I was just holding, is a beverage bottle. That bottle can be packaged, sent with a traveler, and they can sip on it as they please. There's not really a dosage per se, generally, of the potions that I would place in bottles like this. But certainly, potions in a bottle like this, well, they tend to have a special dose. Now, this one is a fern root tincture. One dropper placed under the tongue. Three times a day. And they say it's a cure-all. I'm not sure I believe that. It smells somewhat like garlic. It's hard enough being a witch, you know. The regular folk don't really like us very much. The last thing I want to do is smell like a lump of garlic. So I've never really tried it. But they do say it's a cure-all. Anything that ails you. Fern root tincture. Beautiful amber color. Looks like toffee. I should probably label it before I take it by accident. Or give it to somebody I don't particularly like, which is much more probable. How's that tea? It's penny leaf. A known aphrodisiac. Well, shall we? There are a few examples that you will learn about regarding divination, the telling of the future. We don't use crystal balls here, but what we do use is the scrying mirror. Now, don't look. This is mine. Don't ever look in somebody else's scrying mirror. Not that there's anything to be afraid of, it just messes it up. All of a sudden, I would be seeing your future instead of mine. Seems like it would be a little bit abysmal. The scrying mirror can be cleaned with alcohol, vodka, rum, I suppose, if you really wanted to, moonshine. It will inevitably get covered in fingerprints as you gaze upon your own lovely reflection. and your bright future, or my bright future. Obsidian. Protective qualities. Enhances psychic abilities. And most importantly, it is pure black. Absorbs light. When you invest in your own, it'd be in your best interest to grab a little velvet bag to put it in. That way nobody can look in it. Now, the second method of divination that we use here in my shop is the tarot. You're familiar, yes? Quite common these days. Variation upon variation of artwork. Now, I have the Rider-Waite. You can get whatever you want, but you will be expected to invest in a good deck. That's for sure. You see? Lovely artwork, vintage. No, you don't touch other people's cards. This isn't a yard sale. It's my shop. Don't touch people's cards. These are filled with my energy. I think I have a practice deck somewhere that you can use, so you can learn the meaning of all of the cards. You'll be able to do readings for yourself and others. But it's very important that only you touch the cards. Someone else's energy can drastically change the outcome of the cards that you draw. Now, when I put mine away, I like to put a clear quartz crystal on top of them. Seems to keep the demons away. Or at least the ones I didn't invite. So many goodies in here. It's getting cold. Now, potion making requires a very deep understanding of basic ingredients, how they all mix together, how they sound, how they feel, how they smell, sometimes how they taste, not always. Let's take a few different herbs, for example. I always grind my herbs by hand entirely. If it can't be ground after it's been dried, I don't use it. We do everything here by candlelight. I simply don't have the electrical capacity for a food processor or a blender of any kind. I don't grind my coffee beans by hand. show you an example. Let's see. A little pink peppercorn. Little red spheres. Don't touch your eyes after you've handled this one. Let's see what it sounds like. Lovely. Lavender. Very common. A flower known for its relaxing scent. Beautiful purple hue. The purple does tend to fade when you dry it, but the fragrance is still so bold. Lovely. Calendula. A flower of the marigold family, known for its skin-soothing properties. Good for babies. No, you can try next time. Not yet. But if you're on time next time, then you can use it. You can try. Not today. This is mine. Rosemary. Sounds like rain. Drop, drop, drop. Lovely. Also very fragrant. What do you mean, when do you get to play with poison? You haven't touched the basics yet. You'll have to prove to me that you can handle inert herbs before I let you make poison. Don't worry. You'll be able to poison your foe eventually. Rose petals. A symbol of romance. So fragrant, floral, spicy. It's quite lovely. What do you mean, what do I do with them? I put them in potions, of course. Sometimes we can use very basic herbs and spices to make our poisons, our more lethal potions, much more edible, palatable, undetectable even. People always seem to think that grinding things by hand or doing any sort of task by hand, cutting butter into dough, whipping cream, beating it until it forms those stiff peaks. People just don't seem to see the benefit, but I quite like it. It's not tedious at all. What's that? Do I have a black cat? Oh no, dear. I'm allergic to cats. I have a bat, though. Yes. His name's Raoul. He's out for the night. He'll be back in the morning. What are you looking at? Oh, that. That is bay leaves. The non-magical among us seem to use bay leaves for the most peculiar reasons. I watched someone one time put this in chili. I couldn't believe it, wasting perfectly good bay leaf for chili. Bay leaves can be used in several ways. Used for protection against being jinxed. Yes, I have been jinxed. It's terrible. My hair turned into brambles. It was very difficult to brush. My fingers and toes swelled up to the size of potatoes. My skin got so dry and purple and itchy. And to this day, I don't know who jinxed me or why. Well, I might have an idea of who it was. But you know what happens when you assume. I also like to write purposes and intents on the bay leaves and then burn them. And that in and of itself is a very simple spell that can be quite effective. My favorite substance to use? Mushrooms. I love to use mushrooms in my potions. I just love it. I love to gather them. I love to look for them. I love the whole process of taking it from the field or the forest into the finished product. Lovely. Some mushrooms are so vividly colored, so bright, cheerful, and yet others blend in so easily with the background you'd hardly even know they were there if you weren't looking for them. I find it very fascinating. We'll do a lesson on mushrooms maybe in the spring. If you've advanced that far in your studies. Well, my dear apprentice, the moon is high in the sky, and it is time for me to get some rest. So do finish your tea. And we'll begin our first lesson of the craft on the next new moon. Don't be late.